are now got the pleasure of talking to Pete Holder, or listening to him. And I'm going to be kind of in conversation with him all about LGBTQ plus and what it means, what his experience in the industry really, and how we can try and be more inclusive to all sorts of, to everybody really. So welcome, Pete. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much. This is so nice to actually be talking on this. You know, I've been doing your courses, I don't know, for about a year now, maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
But I'm so pleased to be a part of this with you. Thank you so much for even asking me to do it.
No worries.
I've also got a light shining here, so I've got a shadow.
That's right. And you're in a red shirt.
Yeah, exactly. So before we start, hashtag we make events. Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, let's support everybody.
And just a side note, I actually went to Westfield, White City yesterday. And there were so many people just walking around, no masks, nothing. I was thinking, this is so uncontrolled. What is going on? And then I was thinking, how can events not be going on when we're like the masters of controlling?
Yeah, so true.
I was thinking I could control Westfield right now.
I could whip them into shape. And also, I mean, we could probably talk about this for the next hour, but pubs, people are getting like wasted in pubs. We can't have a sober board meeting.
I know. I don't know. I'm kind of, we're probably in the same boat where we're overthinking about it, but at the same time, we probably shouldn't be overthinking about it. And
it's just going to stress us out even more.
Still raising our voice.
But anyway, let's not talk about Corona.
So I thought before I'd start, I'd just let you know who I am. So I work for a catering company called Kalm Kitchen. If you have heard of us, great. If you haven't, then please check us out on Instagram and give us a follow or a like, whatever you want to do. I'm not going to pressurize you. And my role with Kalm Kitchen is head of events. So there we go. Yeah, the pad. Thank you. Cheers, Caroline. So my role is head of events. So I look after really new sales that come through, all the event managers, and also just the client journey in general for all of our couples or clients. We predominantly do weddings, but we also run events, so corporate things too. Now, my new role within this whole COVID-19 situation is really focusing on sales, which for me at first was a bit daunting. And I was thinking, I'm not actually a salesperson, but I feel that I've learned a lot about myself, that I have high emotional intelligence, I feel.
That's a great thing to have.
That is.
I feel like that kind of makes sales quite authentic and easy.
Yeah.
So that's.
You're also very personable, which can't be taught. I feel like that kind of you don't have. I don't know. You don't have. I'm a sales trainer, but I don't really like the word sales. Like it's more about that getting on with people, understanding their point of view, and having empathy, and like you say, emotional intelligence to see other people's point of view.
Yeah. Which kind of brings me to what we're talking about.
It's almost like it's planned.
I was thinking about, to introduce myself as well as a human, I am also a gay man. So my introduction to the events industry may differ slightly the way that I see certain events or speak to certain people than others in other categories or brackets. But I suppose it's really just sharing my thoughts and kind of giving everyone an understanding of the community. I feel that all the people that I work with, we all look after a certain part of our client's journey. And I think it's our responsibility to really understand and know what it is, or have knowledge really, I said before in our quick 15-minute session that the level of care for the company that I work for, and also for what I give out, is so important to me. And I think having knowledge of other people's backgrounds and what's going to make them feel comfortable is just really important for their overall experience.
Yeah.
I think one thing to really understand at first is what does LGBTQ stand for? What does it represent? we've probably heard terms before, but I suppose really understanding what the acronym is. So the L for lesbian, G for gay, B for bisexual, T for transsexual, and Q for queer. And I think a lot of people think, even myself, I mean, I'm learning every day. I'm in the community, and I'm still learning.
That feels very refreshing to hear, because I think often we
Yeah.
blame ourselves for not understanding it. So to know that there just is
Well,
so much to understand.
yeah, I think there's a level of pressure that people put on themselves as well, that they need to know all this stuff, or that we expect that know
Yeah.
this. But I actually got asked a nice a question the other day: is what's the ideal situation for you, for me, in any situation where I'm feeling a bit, discriminated, I suppose, but unintentionally. And I suppose the answer to that for me is that there's a willingness to learn, and um, there's a willingness from that person to go outside and learn for themselves, rather than come to me and ask how I should comfort them.
Yes, that's very interesting. Yeah.
So the typically what I'm going to talk about is really mainly on weddings and that industry, because I know a lot about it. I've been in it for the X amount of years that I've been in. Although I feel that what I'm going to talk about is transferable to a lot of different industries, different areas. I also agree with all the different things that we've been saying, or we've had the meeting on from this morning, the first hour, and all of that can be put into play with what I'm going to talk about now. So the first part is all about awareness in my eyes. So going into any, I suppose, sales that you get, or reflecting on your brand, reflecting on your social media, your language that you use, your presence within the community, is understanding that you show as a sort of awareness of the community that keeps it inclusive. I actually feel, I was looking at my Instagram and I was like, click, 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 a lot about weddings and events, and predominantly it's, white straight couples that come up
Yeah.
on my Instagram. And I'm not
Is that
saying,
on Kalm's Instagram or your personal?
I think just everywhere. Like I go on,
Yeah.
a lot of mine are about weddings, honestly. Like I can spend hours just looking at stuff. But
Love
I
it.
was thinking
Yeah.
that, it seems that that is kind of the
Go
target.
to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or like that's kind of like the predominant percentage that is photographed and sold to the public.
Yeah. And that's seen as the dream. Like if people say I'm having a dream wedding, like that's what your mind takes you to.
Exactly. So I suppose if you're looking at it from a couple who is in a same-sex relationship, or is in one of those brackets, that they have a certain level of vulnerability, that they come to us for their event, their wedding, and we want to be there to show them that we've got them, essentially. And couples shouldn't have to educate us or their suppliers with their thoughts or feelings or things that we need to do to accommodate them. I feel that we've got a responsibility within our industry to take that on and have that knowledge for them as a starting point.
Because we're the ones that we're the go-to ones that should have the answers.
Yeah,
so,
I feel that we are very good at understanding or training ourselves in dealing with big corporate companies, or how to sell to them, how to change our communication to work for that. But one bracket that we don't really talk about, or really go through, and maybe because it's a minority, I don't know. I ask that question to everyone, but I suppose unless we're kind of taking control and responsibility and learning, there's always that thought that
I think
for that couple or that client.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting because like having worked in venues, I mean, I worked in a venue and we weren't like a typical wedding venue. We didn't really have outdoor space and that kind of stuff. But we did get same-sex couples come because we were really modern, I guess. And it was part of a revenue conversation. We need to change our wording from bride and groom to couples, which we did, and then we promoted ourselves as same-sex couples wedding venue and stuff. But actually having this conversation, how much do we really know about our target market or the people who were coming to us being like, you specialize in what's really vulnerable for us? Realistically, we didn't. We just did some, realized that they liked the venue.
Yeah, I mean, well, I was looking up facts and figures as well. It was actually really interesting, but you know, I can say we are in a world right now where it is developing and becoming much easier to just be yourself, your authentic self, whether you're straight, gay, lesbian, trans, whatever you are, just a woman. uh,
Yeah.
exactly, like you've got this. Um, we've got all these open conversations that are really teaching people. But I think um, you know it's also understanding an emotional element of where those vulnerabilities come from, especially for couples in weddings. I've experienced it that you know when it for a gay man or a lesbian coming out to their parents can be a really traumatic time, and it may be that they're not involved in any wedding plans or may not be there on the day. So having that knowledge that that may be potentially something that is going to be either a difficult conversation, or you want to know that, or you want them to know that you're there for them, and not kind of having that copy and paste genre that Emma was kind of saying, you know, that could be very detrimental to them because they could be really hurt. They could be, you know, it could lead to them maybe not even going with you because they think
Yeah.
that this vendor doesn't really understand me.
Yeah.
Um, and I also think we kind of talking about what Fem said, we're very good at following guidelines to things that are going on at the moment. So it's like wearing your mask, you know, 2 meter rules, because that's being told to us, and we're very good at following those rules. And I know that we have like an Equality Act of 2010 in our government, but I mean, my question would be, I wonder how powerful it would be if the government had, you know, guidelines for you know, us learning about a zero
Yeah.
tolerance on discrimination or pro LGBT inclusivity, and instead of us wanting to learn it, it's more of a need to learn.
Yeah.
Um,
And also rules
that
on
kind of
like
gives me an
marketing and what you can put out there and
idea.
diverse images of people and stuff like that. I feel
Yeah,
like, yeah, because people would actually start to do it and then change would happen really quickly.
sure, exactly. I think that having that imagery on your social media, your LinkedIn, your Facebook, whatever it is that you use the tools, is really powerful. I mean, 88% of the community, of the LGBT community, um, that is the first thing that's most important to them, that that company is pro LGBT.
Right.
So I
Yeah.
mean, that's a high stat, and that's something that if they were maybe going on, you know, any vendor, it doesn't. There's no language to use that, and I suppose this is just a conversation. Like, is it something that we do? Is it something that we have to place in? I'm not sure, but I think it's
Mhm.
definitely worth opening the conversation and just thinking about the awareness of
Yeah.
how we hold ourselves as our brands, how we show ourselves off. So the next part is all about inclusivity. So uh, what type of things can we do to have people included, or using business language to keep them um, feeling safe in
Yeah.
every of their journey. It's so natural for me. I will start a conversation. Someone will call through. Oh, hello, how are you doing? Oh, so lovely to speak to you. Are you getting married? Oh, congratulations on an engagement. We like start that
Yeah.
engaging conversation.
Rapport building.
And in my mind, I mean, the first question I ask them is, "Oh, can I take the name of your fiance?" And when I first started 3 years ago, I would slip into being like I'd be speaking to a bride, and I would say, "Oh, can I take the name of the groom?" And
Yeah.
I'd be thinking, it just wasn't even in my head. I came into the wedding
Which
industry
is crazy, but yeah.
that I would just use, and I didn't think that that would be a detrimental thing if I got it wrong. Okay,
Yeah.
fine, but really, that is almost like a small microaggression to that one person thinking like, okay, that
Yeah.
one little
Yeah.
glimmer of that inclusivity that
It
I've just
just
experienced.
just knocks you a little bit, and then a few of those little bits gets bigger and bigger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I've also got at the end. I'll post some websites and some literature and some people to follow that I feel would be
Yeah.
really beneficial for everyone.
Definitely.
But it would be good to kind of. I think business language is really important, and it kind of goes hand in hand with what Emma was mentioning in terms of these kind of forms and templates that we have. But understanding, as you said as well, Kate, you know, forms having bride or groom, maybe leaving this as simple as name, and then
Yeah.
if you feel that later down the line that changing that to bride and groom or bride and bride or father of the bride, whatever it is, you know, that may be a nice touch in their journey, but it's not really necessary. Yeah,
So yeah, we've got a few comments here. Lynette is saying,
yeah.
I think a couple may be openly gay in their closed community, perhaps a family and friends, but we need to remember that they might not feel as confident talking to new people they've never met before. So like people in venues before, especially if they've been met with negativity in the past. We need to try and make them feel comfortable to be open and honest with us as a venue. Yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think that you know, there's a level of trauma that sticks with us, I suppose,
Really?
at an age that takes you on to further life. And I think when you go through those stages of learning about your like shame and understanding that you can be loved, and you know, going through those obstacles. And one of the books which I'll share with you is definitely worth everyone to give a listen to, about, because it's interchangeable. Like everyone goes through these stages, but the book is specifically on this community. But you know, that trauma can lead them on into these conversations that you have now. So it's good to have an element of understanding.
Yeah.
I think that one example which I had back in 2018, I ran a same-sex wedding, and when I was doing their planning, they went to another venue, and one thing on their show round is that they were asked, which one is the bride, and they were like,
that's a bit odd.
Shocked and felt very kind of like, you're not listening to us, because they'd already had their first inquiry saying who they were, they'd booked it in, like it just felt like you know, the general feeling is that there's no space in people's minds for queer relationships, and it can be really damaging for them to, and it can build a larger problem in our industry if we don't really you know, hold ourselves accountable and learn new language. Whether it's uncomfortable or not, it's not up to us to make ourselves feel comfortable. It's up to us to make them feel comfortable.
Yeah, that's an excellent way of putting it.
Yeah.
And I mean, this is, again, quoting, I think Ashanti said something like this about how these uncomfortable conversations need to be had in order to grow, because if we're just going to sit in our comfort zone, great things never happen in comfort zones. It's my favourite phrase.
If I'm honest as well, like having these conversations for myself, I may be coming across, I don't know, nervous, I don't know. But
no, you come across amazingly. I feel very impressed with you that you're standing up and like flying a flag for the community.
Yeah,
because it's a hard conversation, and you know.
I feel that I've never really put myself in that bracket to, or I've never put myself in that role to think that that's where I would take myself down, because I've lived in bliss in my mind. I've always thought that, I'll go along with the crowd, like I'll keep everyone happy, I'm a people pleaser, that's me. But I think that we can be knowledgeable, kind, respectful, authentic, and still people please. I don't know, I'm still keeping true to myself, but I think that these conversations are really important for me.
I agree.
For my personal growth. I think
Well,
that one thing about the inclusive thing that I just wanted to mention was that anything that we post, I feel like we should be really proud of our inclusion of that community. There was one example of a vendor that we have worked with in the past. I won't name their name because I haven't asked if I could actually say, but they had posted a same-sex couple on their post, and someone had wrote back to them and said, you know, this is in a matter of words, like, disgusting. Like, I'm not following you anymore. Like, I was so
wow.
happy with your work before this, and I'm thinking, oh my goodness, I can't believe this is happening. But okay, good to take this on board and hear
Yeah.
what they say. And anyway, that brand essentially publicly shamed that comment and put it up and said, this is unacceptable.
Yeah.
And please unfollow. If anyone feels this way, please unfollow me. And
Yeah.
I think that in my mind, the respect for that company just went up by
That bold move of standing by the community.
Yeah, and I was thinking they were willing to lose people who were following them for something that is a human right.
Yeah.
And I just think we're like, life is way too short.
Yeah.
Like,
and getting the sale is just not as important as being a moral company with good ethos. Yeah.
And not everyone has that mindset, that's the thing. And everyone is different. We've got to accept everyone's personalities, everyone's difference. We can't push or press on this like certain type of person, or you need to act this way. But I think it's good to approach something in a really calm manner and have factual evidence why what they're saying may be wrong.
And also have the emotional intelligence to listen to their side and be like, okay, but this image made you feel uncomfortable. Why is that? Like, tell me about your side, and then give me the opportunity to talk about mine.
Yeah, sometimes just shutting it down can actually, you know, you're kind of
you
giving
just
them
get a bit of reward, don't you?
Yeah. But at the same time, it's not your responsibility to teach them.
No.
You know, we can take that responsibility if we want to, but I suppose it's a cultural change, not an individual. I'm going to change your mindset now. I feel like that's way too much for one person to do. It's got to be everyone.
Yeah.
So that.
Well, amazing.
Yeah, I feel like
thank you so much. No, absolutely fascinating. And thank you so much for kind of being brave enough, is that the right word, to come on and like bare your soul.
Enjoyed it. I wanted. I'm not sure if anyone's taken anything from it. I'm not sure if anyone's felt that it's relatable to what it is they're doing right now. But hopefully down the line, a year, 2 years, even today, who knows? Something that I've said may resonate with something, an experience that you have that can aid and make someone feel comfortable. And
definitely.
That's kind of what I'm here to share.
Thank you so much, Pete. Amazing. Great to have you on. Do share the link.